This is the commentary box.
To me, tweeting was something that birds did.
Dilly din, dilly dong, come on!
Éder vai aguentar bem, encosta e falta apoio ali sobre o lado direito, sai remate e o gol!
From a yard out, he couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo.
And the celebrations begin.
Hello and welcome to the commentary box. As always, I am Sam and I am joined by...
Jake, hello.
How was your footballing weekend?
Mine was okay. As a Gillingham fan, we lost our first game in quite a while, so now we need 2 losses in 15, but against the top of the league side, Wigan, I'm not disappointed.
Good. Swansea drew to Leicester this weekend, 1-1, so I'm quite happy. But I also found out something very funny today, or yesterday actually, about football in general, kind of. I found out a very interesting fact that Kyle Lafferty, do you know Kyle Lafferty?
Yeah, the Northern Ireland
yes, the Northern
striker.
Yes. Well, he played in a team with Paulo Dybala.
Really?
Yeah, he was a strike partner with Paulo Dybala and outscored him for Palermo in the Italian second division.
I remember seeing that a couple of months ago, actually.
Yeah, I just thought I might share that with you. Today we'll be talking about transfers. We'll be talking about Mahrez a bit as well. And of course, we shall be talking about Pep Guardiola's decision to field only 6 substitutes on his match against Burnley on Saturday. But with no further ado, we shall get into the transfers.
Yes, and this time I have my lovely book of notes to list off, which I've been going through the week. And my first one here is about Watford signing Deulofeu on loan for the rest of the season from Barcelona. And I think from a team that has dropped in form lately and getting a new manager in, I think it's a good signing. I think it's an exciting signing for the fans. And I remember when he went to, was it Everton a couple of seasons ago?
Yes.
He did quite well. And anyone from Barcelona really is a good player. And I think, hopefully, would the new manager turn their season around again, Sam?
I think so. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they do, definitely. And because Deulofeu has been on loan at Barcelona and he hasn't really had the chances, so it'd be very interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, hopefully to impress the boss. And then City signing Laporte for 58 million. Is it Seville he plays for? I can't remember. Or Bilbao?
Atletico Bilbao, yes.
Yes. I think that's a good signing. I think an expensive price, as they always are with the market going up. But in, I think, today's market, for a defender of his quality, not that bad deal, really. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a good signing for Manchester City, but is he going to get into the team? That's my question, because he's up against the likes of Otamendi, who's had a very good season so far.
True.
Stones, who's seems to be getting more and more comfortable in his role as one of City's main centre-backs. And of course, if you're Company, you think you're going to get into the team as well.
Is that indicating that Company's going now? Like he's obviously he had that really bad injury and he went out. And before that, he was one of the best centre-backs in the league,
probably in the world at the time as well.
Yeah, I think that could be his goodbye, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know if it might be a goodbye, because I think he'd probably retire at Manchester City, I think.
You reckon?
But I think it'd be very, very interesting to see if he does ever play fully for the team again.
It'd be
and
nice.
He'll probably just become a backup in the end. But it's a shame for him, but it'd be interesting to see how Laporte does, because he's been great over in Spain, and it'd be interesting to see how he does as well.
Yeah, and Ozil signed a new contract, and at Arsenal, obviously, and I think that one of the reasons for this could be with the couple of signings that Arsenal have made, bringing in Aubameyang, bringing in Mkhitaryan, and I just think that in recent games where Arsenal have seemed to have done better than they have been, with losing Sanchez and losing, I think I don't know how to say it, but I feel like I know there's been a lot of concentration on Wenger doing not very well, and I think with Sanchez going, possibly relieving some sort of weight off their shoulders, because there was a lot of tension with him. People had a feeling he'd want to leave for a while, and I feel like possibly Arsenal can concentrate a bit more. And Ozil was obviously a great player, and now hopefully going to get some form back again. I look at their team now and I think they are quite a strong team. Now with obviously the likes of Lacazette still there, I think just shifting an old, although good player, could turn it around.
Yeah. I think this was all kind of with Aubameyang. It was all to do with the merry-go-round, wasn't it? I mean, I was watching on transfer deadline day because I treat it like a holiday sometimes. I wish it was a national holiday because then I could get the day off and watch it all the way through. But when I was watching, I was kind of gripped in this story how there was 3 players in Aubameyang, Batshuayi and Giroud all kind of waiting for the Aubameyang deal to go through, and they all happened in the end, which was great for all the players. But Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal has kind of given a signal of intent by Wenger and Arsenal that they are intending to kind of win the title. They're not going to sit back and see how things pan out and get some luck. They want to go for it. I mean, maybe I know they're not this season, but next season, I think, especially with Ozil saying, as he said, probably the reasons he did, as he said, were because they got players in. But I think they could mount a title challenge next season if they can keep hold of these players and bring in potentially more. Yeah,
definitely. Because when Aubameyang went for 56 million, which I think is actually a really good price in today's market.
I think he's overpriced. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think what I've heard is that he's got a bad attitude. Especially, I think he wanted to leave Dortmund in the summer, didn't go because he kind of was taunting clubs, saying, "Oh, look, this is money I can get in China," and he was kind of just being a bit of a bad influence in the Dortmund team. He's kind of lost his pace somewhat, I think, and he though he scores many, which you can't deny that he gets less touches on the ball in some matches than the Weidenfeller when he was at Dortmund.
Crikey, well, I didn't know that at all. I just saw him as I don't know much about him, but I thought he was quite a good player, and I thought the influence he's made on Arsenal already is good. Yeah,
no doubt he's a brilliant top-class player, but it'd be interesting to see how long that lasts, I think.
True, that's fair enough. And then obviously that deal falling through meant that Arsenal were happy to let Giroud go to Chelsea. And then obviously Chelsea gaining a striker were happy to let Batshuayi go to Dortmund, which I'm pretty sure on his debut I saw he got 2 goals and an assist. He did quite well, actually.
I think he got the winning goal, didn't he?
Yeah,
against I can't remember now, but Cologne for Dortmund. Yeah.
Was it? Is he on loan, or have they bought him?
He's on loan, but
is Giroud on loan?
Giroud has, I think, signed for 80 million for Chelsea, which is a bargain.
18.
Yeah, which is a very. I think that's a bargain.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. What else? I think Giroud for Chelsea could do really well. I think he was told by the French manager to go to Chelsea because I think he needs game time if he wants to be in that French team.
If he wants to compete with Griezmann, I don't know if Benzema is still in the mix for the striker position, but yeah, with Griezmann up there and now like Mbappe and Dembele, definitely getting game time to be important for him. And then I just saw a thing about Neymar in PSG that he actually, I know it's not a transfer in this window, but having in 28 games, have a guess how many goals and assists he has.
I think I've seen
27 games. Oh, have you seen it?
I think, but I can't remember what they were, but I'm going to guess it was about 28 goals.
Yeah.
And 13 assists?
Yeah, 18 assists.
18 assists. That's
crazy.
Phenomenal.
I know the price was like 197, something insane. But in 27 games, first of all, getting more goals than games is an incredible record that you'd be like overwhelmed by, but to have 18 assists on top of that, I think that's incredible. What a season he's having, and we've got quite a few months to go to have that record already under his belt, and he's not looking like stopping. He's never really had any injuries. I think it just highlights the fact that even as a winger, how good of a player he really is.
And how influential he is. I mean, I really do think PSG are Champions League winning potential.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Cavani is in great form as always he's been. I think when he was there with Zlatan had that main role, and then Cavani sort of crept in a little bit and started to get goals, and now he's breaking records at PSG.
Yeah.
I think they're doing really well, and it's good for French football. It's a shame that not so many of them are French, obviously.
Mbappe, yeah.
Mbappe, of course, but like Cavani being from Uruguay and Neymar being from Brazil, but it's still good to see. Oh, speaking of Brazilians, didn't Lucas go from PSG to Tottenham?
Yes, Lucas Moura signed for Tottenham for, I think it was about 25 million,
Yeah, 20
23.
something. Not bad. I think it's being on that wing. Is he competing with like Sissoko, or is he competing? Does Ali play on the right for Tottenham? I think he does. I think Ali plays on the right. And they have Son on the left, and then obviously Ericsson sitting behind Kane.
Yeah, or Lamella kind of.
Or Lamella.
Yeah.
But I think Lucas is better than Sissoko. I think
Definitely.
I think Sissoko was a snap by
Tottenham just wanting to buy a player for big money, I think.
and after because he had a really good World Cup, and everyone thought, wow, Sissoko turning it around, Newcastle player, goes to Tottenham, doesn't do that great. I think Lucas is better than him. And then the other player was Lamella. I think he probably is better than Lamella. I don't think Lamella is that good.
Uh-huh.
But it'd be interesting to see how that works. A little bit of competition just to keep them going, keep them on their toes, and I think it's a good buy.
So is anything more on the transfers from our very own Jim White here in the studio?
Yeah, well, not really, apart from the fact, just a little bit about your club, Swansea. Obviously, you having bought in Andy King and Ayew from West Ham, now having both the Ayew brothers up front.
Which is interesting, very interesting to see that.
And then, but sadly, having Leroy Fer and Wilfred Boney injured.
Oh, okay.
Them two slotting in, you've still got those players there. Are you happy with? I'm only happy with Ayew, because we spoke about it before. But what about Andy King?
I'm very happy with the signings we made. I think Andre Ayew pairing up with his brother Jordan should be really interesting. I think he wasn't getting the game time he wanted at West Ham, so he's come here back to Swansea, his home in England or in Wales, I think, and definitely be interesting to see how he does. Andy King, Welshman, so I'm been really annoyed recently that we don't have any Welshmen after Neil Taylor's left, Ashley Williams left, and it's really good to have a Welshman back in the team, and it'd be interesting to see how he does as well.
Yeah, that should be good. I think Andy King is one of the only players who played in all the 4 divisions of English football.
Yes, I think,
all with Leicester, I think.
Yeah, I think all the 3 with Leicester. I think, yeah.
Oh, was it 3 with Leicester and 1 before?
Yeah.
Interesting, but that sort of concludes our first topic, and moving with a transfer-related one to our second, with Riyad Mahrez. So, like, a lot of things. Obviously, Mahrez is one of Leicester's best players, and clubs have been interested in him for quite a while. But nothing's really gone through, and he hasn't really moved anywhere yet. But he did hand in a transfer request on the 30th of January. And my first thoughts when I saw this was, okay, that's incredibly late. If you do want to leave the club, great, that's fine. But maybe you should have done it earlier to allow more chance of you going in. I'm not sure really why he left it too late. But yeah, what is your opinion on that?
Of course, Riyad Mahrez, he's been brilliant for Leicester. He helped them win the Premier League in the 2015-16 season, and he's got 165 appearances and 44 goals for them in all competitions ever since he signed when they were in the Championship. And he's been so loyal to Leicester City, because after they won the Premier League, he could have gone anywhere in the world.
Definitely, anyone was wanting him.
But he chose to stay and help Leicester stay up, especially in their second season, and then in their third as well. And I think his promise was to Leicester was for them to become a Premier League team established, and they have become that. But as you said, he handed in a request on the day before deadline day, and that's almost impossible for clubs to get things sorted for the money they want. I mean, on deadline day, Manchester City did bid for him for 60 million, I think it was, or just something above 6 million, and a player in exchange. So,
do you know who that was?
I don't think they do actually know who it was, but I think I had a sneaky feeling it might have been Delph or someone, maybe potentially moving to Leicester. But unfortunately for him, he does deserve the move. If only he did that, say, beginning of the transfer window, I think he'd be a lot more respected.
Just to allow a team to actually get him in. I think it's just so difficult for a team to... It always gets back and forth and doing it, and he only allowing one bid in late, and Leicester obviously rejected that, whether because they wanted to keep Mahrez, or the fact that they didn't think it was well enough for him. But yeah, like you're saying, like, Mahrez obviously deserves this move, and I don't know whether he was sort of stopped by Leicester to maybe hand in a request, but we did do a poll on the Friday, as we always do over the weekend, and it was related to Leicester. Sam, if you want to read out the results there.
Yes, we did a poll asking the question, were Leicester City right in not allowing Mahrez to leave? And the poll ended up 76% of people saying no, Leicester City weren't right in not allowing him to leave, and there was 24% yes, saying that Leicester were right in letting him not allowing him to leave, and that was out of 25 votes. So that's fairly substantial. People saying that Leicester City should have allowed him to go for that amount of money.
That's an all-time high on the vote. 25, very good. And 14 followers. So. Who dare you out there follow us, but vote in our polls.
Yes, if you want to get in contact, of course you can by going onto our Twitter, which is @BoxCommentary, and you can get involved in polls, follow us, and kind of see any general stuff we may put up there. Football related. But that kind of brings us to an end about the Mahrez dealings and the transfer dealings in general.
One last thing just before we do that, sorry, because with the 24 saying yes, which is obviously quite a few, I was thinking one of the reasons why that could be, because I personally thought no, I didn't think it was right that a club should obviously stop any player from moving. But in a way, it's a contract that you sign, you make an agreement, you say, I'm going to play this amount of time for you. Obviously, they can accept if they both agree, but I can see why people just say no. Just as a way of, you sign a contract.
You have to do the contract, I guess.
You have to fulfill it. I remember when Payet wanted to leave West Ham, and everyone was outraged at first, and I was sort of seeing both sides of it. It's just interesting, but was, I think it was that'd be a main reason. For people saying, they are. It's in their rights.
And now we shall go on to the question of the week. I think we haven't heard the answer of the question last week, so do you want to just tell the listeners?
So my question was to Sam: which club has won the most FA Cups?
Now, this is a hard question. I like the question, though, because it's kind of FA Cup replays are tomorrow night, I think, and Wednesday night. Swansea on the TV, on BBC, so I'll get to watch that. But I'm going to say Blackburn, because they're an old team, so it means they've had a chance to win more FA Cups, I guess.
True.
So I'm going to go with Blackburn.
Okay, well, I will reveal that you are wrong, actually. It is Arsenal.
Arsenal,
And I think that's mainly from it being sort of recently winning so many. Would you want to guess how many victories they have?
5?
A lot more than that.
10.
13.
Ooh, that's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot.
It's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
So Arsenal winning 13, and then Blackburn Rovers have won it 6 times.
Yeah.
But before that, you've also got Newcastle with 6, Villa 7, Chelsea 7, Liverpool 7, Tottenham 8, United 12.
So I was in the right direction,
in the top 8.
It's not a bad guess.
It's not bad. I can see where the logic came from that, and I think that's I think at first I thought, is that difficult? Because I was going to originally ask for the number as well, but I thought no. I will wait. But no, I think that's a good question. And I will make a table.
Okay.
So we have our results. But do you have a question for me as well?
Yes, I do. And it's kind of transfer related. It's a short little...
Topical.
Small question. And that is, who was the first player to be signed for more than £1 million or £1 million? Ever. First player ever.
Crikey.
So I'll leave you with that one.
I will have a think definitely about that.
Yep.
I will have a think. But that concludes our first and second and our questions.
Yes, so see you in a bit. So on the weekend, Manchester City drew to Burnley 1-1. And though we should kind of think that Burnley drawing was the biggest topic of the game, it wasn't, because Pep Guardiola only named 6 substitutes out of a possible 7, and that kind of controversy kind of overwhelmed the game and overwhelmed much of the talk before and after it, and kind of took away from Burnley's very, very good game in the fact that they drew to Manchester City. But it's a topic that is quite controversial because people have had their opinions saying about he should have been allowed to do 6 and there's nothing wrong with that, and some people saying it's kind of him being arrogant and saying we should really have put 7 on the bench. But I thought, let's discuss it.
Yeah, so recently, the manager, after the Leroy Sané injury in the FA Cup at Cardiff, he came out in an interview, Guardiola, and he was saying that, referees need to protect players, and I can see where he's coming from. Having lots of players injured for the team, he wants foul sanctions to be in place where if a player does a bad foul, something to happen because players get injured and it seriously affects a season. I remember when Gillingham were top of the league till February, and our 2 best players got injured, and then we came 8th and didn't even get in the playoffs. And how 2 players can make a massive difference to your team. So they had 7 players injured. Could you guess those 7 players, Sam? Would you reckon you know?
I could name 4 of them. I think
4 of them. Go on.
Fabian Delph.
Yep.
Benjamin Mendy.
Yep.
Obviously Sane.
Yep.
I think Silva. Is Silva injured? Jesus.
Yep. 2 more.
2 more. Not Danilo. I don't know.
1 defender, 1 midfielder.
Company.
No.
No. Don't know then.
I'll give you the midfielder, which is Phil Foden. I don't know.
Okay. He's a youngster.
He's a youngster, would have thought. And then the defender is John Stones.
Okay.
So looking at that though, only one of them I've not heard of, but Sane, Jesus, Silva, Stones, Mendy, they are all in that first team pretty much straight away. And if that's happening to Manchester United, could you imagine if Manchester United had injured, let's say, Mata, Pogba, Lingard, Lukaku? That's just 4. Instantly, I think their season would definitely change.
Definitely.
And City, because they do have very good players and they have a bit of depth, I think they've been able to sort of resurrect this and sort of do well. But yeah, I think Guardiola, because he came out in an interview and said it, and at first, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, I think he's just making a fuss out of nothing. He's like attributing his failure to an external factor which he can't help, and he's taken away from the fact that he shouldn't have drawn against Burnley, which in theory, obviously Manchester City you would have thought would have beaten Burnley, but Burnley playing well as they did, it's completely fair. And I think Guardiola, he's making a statement here. He's saying, something needs to be done. And I always see the top teams complaining about this, but it's true. When you're going for the title, you've got to have your best players being fit week in, week out to be playing against teams. And if they're getting injured and nothing's happening and it continues, he wants to make a point, and he's taken 6 instead of 7 subs. 3 of those 6 were under 21 players, so they're not even really getting much game time. And he's just sort of making a statement. And do you think it's a problem, Sam? Because I do.
I don't think it's a problem. I purely think he's just
not problem with the making the sub. Problem with players aren't being protected as much as they could be. Just to rephrase that to make sense. I think bringing 6 out of 7 subs is fine to make a statement. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine for him to make 6 out of 7 subs because he's clearly making a statement that his players are injured, and that's because of either players aren't getting protection from tackles and players are still being injured like that. And I think he's also making a statement that during winter period he had to play so many games in short succession. And I would agree that in that sense players do need to be protected. In the tackling sense, I think not so much in a way. I mean, of course, if a tackle's bad enough, the player will get red carded or yellow carded anyways. And sometimes injuries just occur from a not a bad foul, but just because they've landed awkwardly as a result.
Yeah, I think with new thing coming as VAR, where we re-look at things, I think something with that would be if someone tackles someone and they land awkwardly because of it, nothing happens.
Yeah.
But I think if the tackle comes in and it's a horrendous tackle,
And they inflict the injury.
which the Sane one was horrific, and it could have been so much worse than it was, and he's gone in awfully. I think there's got to be retrospective action taken place just to not only make another statement of saying, this can't be allowed in football, but to show that if something awful happens, things get done.
Yeah, and on that note, I think you've given me an idea for 2 polls we can do on Wednesday night when this comes out. And the first poll is, was Guardiola okay in only naming 6 out of 7 subs? Which would be a poll you can vote on Wednesday. And also, do our players protected enough? I think that'd be another good poll question.
That can be our Friday weekend.
Yeah, or after the podcast on Wednesday. Of course, if you want to get in contact us, you can get in contact by going on Twitter and finding us at Box Commentary. But that brings an end to today's podcast. Of course, we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast. We certainly have. We hope you have a great footballing weekend. Anything you would like to add, Jake? Enjoy yourself. Okay, thank you for listening, and adios.